Well, there you go. That's us, right there. Supposedly, anyway. They say there's a lot of theories when it comes to outer space, my dear. Happy Father's Day, January 22nd. Still counting down the days that you and I can come together in this great cosmic place we call Earth. This is Earth, baby. That is Earth. Planet Earth, the third planet from the sun. It is January 22nd, 2022. It is Father's Day, for us anyway, if not for the rest of the planet. Earth, the third planet. You didn't think, you maybe thought I wouldn't include that as we review the planets in the solar system, but it's a planet and we got to count it. It's us. It's where we live. What if somebody on another planet is doing the same thing and they left out Earth? Well, we'd be pretty upset, wouldn't we? So we counted Mercury. Maybe somebody lives there. Probably not. We counted Venus. Maybe somebody lives there or lived there. Probably not. We'll count the ones beyond us as well. So it wouldn't be fair. It just wouldn't be fair. We got to count the Earth. It was interesting. Carl Sagan. I quoted Jack Horkheimer last time. I'm going to do that again today. Jack Horkheimer was a famous astronomer. I think he's since passed away. That I listened to and watched and followed when I was a boy. And Carl Sagan was too. Carl Sagan was always a little more, what's the word? Liberal, hippie-esque. He was kind of a hippie. I think he did some drugs in the 60s and 70s, but he nonetheless was a scientist, and he thought it was phenomenal. I think he was very much changed by the Voyager spacecraft. Our Voyager 1 was the first spacecraft really to travel super far from Earth, outside of our solar system, and it, in fact, at one point turned back and looked back towards Earth, and Earth was just I'll tell you about it, was just a speck of light. I mean, it was a speck of dust. And it took a picture, and it sent that picture back to Earth via radio waves, and we looked at it, and you can look it up now. It's called the pale blue dot, and it's just it looks like a speck of dust floating in the air, and it's supposed to be Earth. Carl Sagan, sorry, I've got a cough again. Carl Sagan actually, he wrote a short story called A Pale Blue Dot, and it's in reference to Earth, and I'm going to read it to you here, my dear. From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem like any particular interest, but for us, it's different. Consider again at that dot. It's a pale blue dot. I'll show you the picture when we're done. That here, that's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever heard of, every human being who ever existed, who ever lived out their lives here. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilizations, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, that's me. Hopeful child, that's you. Inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on that tiny blue dot, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely indistinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatred. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusions that we have some privileged position in the universe are challenged by this pointed pale dot. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all the vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit, yes. Settle, not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, for this moment, the earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. That's why I like astronomy. There is perhaps no better demonstration for the folly of human concepts and conceits that this distant image of our tiny world can show. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. Now, I will show you the pale blue dot. The pale blue dot. I will show it to you. It's supposed to be us, they say. There you go, that's a picture of us from Voyager spacecraft. I think that was taken from beyond Jupiter. And he's right. How small, how insignificant, and yet we frequently think everything is very large and very permanent. They often say you can only change yourself. And we've talked a lot about that. And it does in fact make you wonder, does it all matter? And I guess the answer to that is as revertingly shallow as my answer will be, yes. Yes, it does. It matters a lot to me. One more thing. Sagan had been asked at one point, Carl Sagan had been asked at one point if he believed in God, or if he thought if God was real. And he always answered questions like this. He said, well, if either way, he said, either way we're in a lot of trouble. If God is real, then we're in a lot of trouble. And if God is not real, then we're in a lot of trouble. And he said, I think honestly we're on our own. So something to experience, to think about, and to contemplate. I think that's why, again, I like astronomy, because it's a humbling experience to consider astronomy. And that's what we're doing this week. So we learned about the planet Earth. And again, tiny little dots suspended in a sunbeam. I love that quote. And it makes you think just how important things, how big and how permanent things really are not. And yet you have to consider it and say, it's important to me. You, my dear, are important to me. I hope you know that. I'm going to keep telling it to you. We are here on this little dot together, and I intend to share my temporary time and my small little part of that dot with you. I look forward to seeing you soon, baby. Happy Father's Day, January 22nd, 2022. Keep looking up.